Picture a quaint village in Sussex, England. Rolling hills, charming cottages. This idyllic setting was the backdrop for Piers Morgan's childhood. Born Piers Stephen O'Meara in 1965, he was a mischievous boy with a twinkle in his eye. Little did anyone know this seemingly ordinary boy would grow up to become one of the most recognizable and controversial figures in media. His journey, however, was anything but ordinary. It was a path paved with ambition, talent, and a healthy dose of audacity. From a young age, Piers had a voracious appetite for stories. He devoured newspapers and mimicked newscasters. His parents, an accountant and a homemaker, recognized his burgeoning passion. They nurtured his interests, perhaps unaware of the media titan they were shaping. At school, Piers excelled in English and drama, early signs of his future calling. He wasn't a model student, though. He was outspoken, often challenging authority, a trait that would define his career. Piers's rebellious streak was tempered by an undeniable charm. He could disarm with humor as quickly as he could provoke with an acerbic comment. This charisma, coupled with his sharp intellect, made him a natural leader. He captained the school debating team, honing his skills in argumentation and rhetoric. These formative experiences, the idyllic backdrop of Sussex and the thrill of debate, were laying the foundation for Piers Morgan, the future media powerhouse. This early passion for storytelling soon found an outlet in journalism. Piers began his career at a local newspaper, the East Grinstead Courier. He was just 18, eager to learn the ropes and make his mark. His natural flair for writing, coupled with his relentless pursuit of a good story, quickly caught the attention of his editors. They recognized his potential, his raw talent waiting to be molded. Piers Morgan was on his way, driven by an ambition that wouldn't be contained within the confines of local news. He was destined for bigger things, for the cutthroat world of Fleet Street. The newsrooms of Fleet Street, London's legendary newspaper hub, were a world away from the quiet lanes of Sussex. It was a baptism by fire. But Piers, undeterred, embraced the frenetic pace and fierce competition. He thrived on the pressure, the adrenaline rush of chasing scoops and deadlines. His early years were a blur of late nights, frantic phone calls, and the clatter of typewriters. He learned from the best, seasoned journalists who had seen it all. They taught him the art of crafting a compelling story, the importance of accuracy, and the power of a well-placed headline. Piers was a quick study, absorbing everything like a sponge. He wasn't afraid to ask questions, to challenge conventions, and to push the boundaries. This audacity, while sometimes met with resistance, also earned him respect. His big break came in 1988 when he landed a job at The Sun, Britain's most popular tabloid. The Sun, known for its sensationalist headlines and mass appeal, was a far cry from the quiet confines of the East Grinstead Courier. But Piers took to it like a duck to water. He understood the tabloid formula, the art of grabbing attention and holding it. His writing was sharp, witty, and often provocative. He wasn't afraid to court controversy, a trait that would become his trademark. Piers's star rose quickly at The Sun. He went from covering minor stories to landing front-page scoops. His natural charisma and sharp interviewing skills made him a hit with readers. He wasn't just reporting the news. He was becoming part of the story. His editors recognized his talent and gave him increasing responsibility. He was soon promoted to show business editor, a role that perfectly suited his larger-than-life personality. The boy from Sussex had arrived. He was Piers Morgan, the rising star of Fleet Street, and he was just getting started. The world of show business was Piers's playground. He rubbed shoulders with celebrities, attending glitzy parties and interviewing A-list stars. He had a knack for getting under their skin, eliciting candid responses and juicy scoops. His columns were the talk of the town, a mix of gossip, humor, and biting commentary. He wasn't afraid to name names or call out hypocrisy. This fearless approach, while endearing him to readers, also made him enemies. But Piers thrived on the controversy. He understood the power of celebrity and the public's insatiable appetite for their lives. He used his platform to entertain, to inform, and to provoke. He wasn't just a journalist, he was a showman. His writing was bold, often outrageous, but always entertaining. He knew how to craft a story that would capture the public's imagination. His success at The Sun didn't go unnoticed. In 1994, at the age of 29, Piers achieved a career milestone. He was appointed editor of the News of the World, another popular tabloid owned by Rupert Murdoch. He was the youngest editor of a national newspaper in more than half a century. It was a remarkable achievement, a testament to his talent and ambition, but it was also a double-edged sword. The editorship brought with it immense pressure and scrutiny. The News of the World was known for its sensationalist stories and aggressive reporting tactics. Piers, never one to shy away from a challenge, embraced the tabloid's ethos. He pushed the boundaries even further, courting controversy and pushing the limits of journalistic ethics. He was determined to make the News of the World the most talked-about paper in the country, and he succeeded. Circulation soared under his leadership, but his success came at a price. His critics accused him of sensationalism, of invading privacy, and of sacrificing journalistic integrity for headlines. Piers, however, remained unapologetic. He was a tabloid editor and he made no apologies for it. Reigning over headlines, editorship, and controversy. Piers's tenure at the News of the World was a tumultuous period marked by both triumph and controversy. He had a knack for tapping into the public's mood, knowing what would resonate with readers. He wasn't afraid to tackle difficult issues, often taking controversial stances that sparked national debates. He used his platform to challenge the status quo, to give a voice to the voiceless, and to hold those in power accountable. His time at the helm of the News of the World wasn't without its critics. His detractors accused him of being too sensationalist, of exploiting people's tragedies for headlines. They pointed to his use of paparazzi photos, his willingness to publish salacious details, and his often confrontational interviewing style as evidence of his disregard for journalistic ethics. But Piers remained undeterred. He argued that he was simply giving the public what they wanted. He relished the cut and thrust of the newspaper industry. He was a master of the dark arts of tabloid journalism, understanding the power of a front-page splash and the impact of a well-placed rumor. He cultivated a network of sources, from politicians to celebrities to ordinary people caught up in extraordinary circumstances. He was always on the hunt for a good story, a scoop that would set the news agenda and leave his rivals scrambling. However, Piers's time at the News of the World was not to last. In 1995, after just 2 years at the helm, he was sacked by Rupert Murdoch. The official reason given was a series of controversial front pages, including one featuring a photograph of the Princess of Wales's estranged sister-in-law, the Duchess of York, having her toes sucked by her financial advisor. The incident caused a public outcry, and Murdoch, fearing further damage to his reputation, decided to cut his losses. Piers Morgan, the golden boy of tabloid journalism, had fallen from grace, but he was far from finished. He would be back, and when he returned, it would be on his own terms. Photoshopped and scorned, a costly setback. The sacking from the News of the World was a major blow to Piers's career. It was a public humiliation, a stain on his otherwise stellar track record. Many thought it was the end for the ambitious journalist. But Piers is not one to be kept down for long. He licked his wounds, learned from his mistakes, and plotted his comeback. He knew he had to reinvent himself to prove his critics wrong. In 1995, shortly after his departure from the News of the World, Piers was offered the editorship of the Daily Mirror, another popular British tabloid. He jumped at the chance, eager to prove his detractors wrong. He brought his trademark energy and nose for a story to the Mirror, shaking up the paper's content and design. He introduced new sections, hired fresh talent, and wasn't afraid to court controversy. He was determined to make the Mirror the most talked-about paper in the country. Under his leadership, the Mirror's circulation increased. He was praised for his campaigning journalism, tackling issues such as gun control, child poverty, and the Iraq War. He wasn't afraid to take on powerful figures, using the Mirror's platform to hold politicians and celebrities to account. He was a thorn in the side of the establishment, a voice for the common man. However, in 2004, Piers's career was once again rocked by scandal. The Mirror published photographs purporting to show British soldiers abusing Iraqi prisoners. The images caused a public outcry, but it soon emerged that they were fake. The Mirror had been duped, and Piers, as editor, was ultimately responsible. He apologized for the error, but the damage was done. He resigned from the Mirror, his reputation in tatters. It was a devastating blow, but Piers would once again rise from the ashes. Television beckons a new stage, a new Piers. The fallout from the mirror scandal was swift and brutal. Piers was pilloried in the press, branded a disgrace to journalism. His career in newspapers seemed over, but Piers is a survivor. He knew he had to reinvent himself to find a new outlet for his talents. Television beckoned, offering a fresh start and a wider audience. He had already made appearances on current affairs programs, his sharp wit and forthright opinions making him a natural fit for the medium. He dipped his toes into the world of television with a mix of presenting gigs and guest appearances. His first major foray into broadcasting came in 2006 when he became a judge on America's Got Talent. The show, a talent competition searching for the next big star, was a surprise hit. Piers, with his acerbic wit and no-nonsense approach, quickly became a fan favorite. He wasn't afraid to tell contestants they were terrible, even shedding tears on occasion for acts he found particularly moving. America's Got Talent introduced Piers to a new audience. He was no longer just a controversial newspaper editor, he was a television personality. He embraced this new persona, toning down his rough edges and revealing a more vulnerable side. He connected with viewers on an emotional level, sharing his own experiences and opinions. He was still opinionated, but his delivery was more measured, more thoughtful. This newfound success opened doors. Piers landed his own talk show on CNN in 2011, Piers Morgan Live. The show, broadcast from New York, tackled the big issues of the day, from politics to gun control to celebrity culture. Piers relished the opportunity to interview newsmakers and celebrities, engaging in lively debates and challenging conventional wisdom. He wasn't afraid to ask tough questions, to hold people accountable, and to speak his mind, even if it ruffled feathers. His time on CNN cemented his status as a major player in American media. He had successfully crossed the Atlantic, conquering a new continent and a new medium.